Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
The New York Jets hit the practice field for the first time in 2026. Aaron Glenn is speaking at the podium. We're going to listen in on what he had to say and react in real time. Omari Brown from JetX is my guest. We made it, Jet fans. Training camp is here. It's the Jake Asman Show. Let's hit it and get it started.
We sitting in here, we excited as hell.
Now it's time to get to work. Are you a happy guy?
Oh my goodness, let's go!
I haven't felt joy talking about the Jets in a long time. When they announced it, I went, yeah! Let's go! A new chapter for the Jets has started. Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji are tasked with shaping the future of this franchise. Will they be the ones to finally get it right? We will be here for every step of the journey on the Jake Asman Show, breaking down all the storylines, every game, and everything in between. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super chats, baby. Cut the line. The Jake Asman Show starts right now. Here we go, Jet fans. Welcome in, everybody. It is indeed the Jake Asman Show, presented by PrizePicks. I want to thank everyone who always watches our content year-round. We could not do it without you. And last night, we hit a new threshold here on YouTube, 46,000 subscribers, which is just incredible considering the fact I'm a one-man band. We don't have a whole network of shows or multiple people that do shows on the channel. It's just me and, of course, some of the people who help me out behind the scenes, like the great Gator McCluskey or Boomtown or Kevin, Sean, and Dom. But for the most part, it's just me and you guys every single day. So thank you so much for watching year-round and helping us hit 46,000 subscribers. We could not do it without you. Aaron Glenn is speaking right now to the media following the first practice of the season. So let's listen in to what AG has to say. His first press conference of the 2026 NFL season is officially underway. Here's Glenn at the podium right now.
It's good to see everybody. Obviously, coming back for training camp is always exciting. Coaches excited, players excited, organization excited. And what we want to do, we just want to build off the momentum that we actually had in OTAs going into training camp. So no slogans, no hype speeches. Want to set the tone with the players yesterday, and man, we're ready to improve, and that's what we're trying to do. So we can come to the injuries. Mozzie, he had a hamstring today. I'll check on that, this afternoon and see where that's going. Pond strained a calf. Don't think too much into that. I think he'll be just fine. PUP Osai, he'll be fine. I think he'll be back very soon. And T-Sweat NFI, all right, he'll be fine too. Had a hamstring in the offseason, but we're going to make sure we monitor that very well and make sure he's fine. So that's what happens when it comes to the injuries. Other than that, man, again, exciting times, all right, for everybody. And we're just ready to put the work in. Keep our heads down and just put the work in. Any questions?
So how are you feeling going into your second training camp with everything?
I feel good. I really do. There was a number of things this offseason that now I told you guys this doing OTAs that I want to improve on. And plus, not just improve. I thought some things that we did last year were good. I think we all need to improve when it comes to the processes that we had. But you start to learn different things going through your second year. And to me, that's the most exciting thing that I'm thinking of right now. It's just some of the things that I want to implement with the team, some of the messaging I want to continue to implement, and just knowing that, man, if we could just keep that consistent, man, improvement comes behind that. So I'm looking forward to how guys react from this day forward going into training camp.
Does it feel different for you coming into your second year doing this? Obviously, you went in last year a little bit blind. I mean, you knew somewhat.
I think for any head coach going from year one to year two, you see things, I don't want to say totally different, but, man, there are some blind spots that you probably didn't expect. And that's with every coach and every first-time head coach has told me that. And it allows you to go into this year, man, being able to attack those things the right way. So I look forward to being able to do that. And then going to your second year, like the process or your processing is a little bit different because now the relationships that you have a lot of dialogue with, especially me and Mooj. Same with the players, being able to bring other players in that you know that fits what you're trying to do. So anytime going from year one to year two, man, it feels exciting.
Some of those blind spots, just a couple of maybe general things.
Yeah.
Obviously, you came in here. Obviously, speaking of Bill, you got a lot of you coached under Campbell and all that stuff. So you got a lot of ideas coming in.
Yeah, and listen, I'm not trying to be a butthole, when I give you this answer, but a lot of that, man, I really want to keep to myself. I don't think it's fair to myself or the team to be able to articulate all those things to everybody and give everybody all the answers to which I think is the test, for me to improve.
You're watching Aaron Glenn's first training camp press conference of 2026. We're reacting in real time right here on the Jake Asman Show.
You guys too. What were those conversations like? What did you tell him?
Well, I think he did a really good job of the awareness part of it, of first understanding that, man, we built a lot of momentum in OTAs and coming out of OTAs. And, man, the distraction happened. And I know he hated that he was a part of that. But the thing about it, it's behind him. It's behind him. And we all moving forward. He talked to me. He talked to some of his teammates. Man, we're with him 100%. And, man, we're moving forward.
How do you go about building competitive stamina throughout camp?
It's a really good question. Because in camp, I would say the first period, man, it's always competitive. Always. Then as camp goes or as the day goes, man, guys get tired. And that's when you want to see how guys are competing. And that's when I call them head coach call it periods to where, man, I'm going to throw some out there for myself and I'm going to throw some out there for Frank so the guys can compete. And that's how you build competitive stamina. The guys continue to compete time after time. At the end of the day, man, how we operate, right? And I want our players to operate that way, and that's how we want to build competitive stamina.
This being your second camp, how might the messaging to the players, how might it be different than it was last year? And in what ways might this camp be different than last year?
Well, again, I'm going to keep that to myself when it comes to the messaging. But I will tell you this, the messaging will be consistent. And I want the focus to be narrow for our players. And I think if we do that, right, it allows for everybody to improve.
What are the challenges? You've got two new coordinators, obviously, and most particularly Frank. What do you feel like he brings to you?
Yeah.
And how critical?
Well, I've been knowing Frank for a long time. Obviously, we know he was my teammate. And throughout my coaching career, we've always kept in touch. And I think the beauty of those relationships is you get a chance to know exactly how he operates when it comes to his philosophy, when it comes to offense. And then you try to see, man, does it match what I think? All right. And for the most part, man, it's right on point. It is right on point. And you see exactly how he did when he was in Indy, as far as running the ball, as far as the explosive plays, things like that. So, man, our philosophies really match when it comes to that. Defensively, man, we all know that Duke was with me for 3-4 years in Detroit. So he knows this defense like the back of his hand. When I have to step out and do other duties, man, he could easily step in and explain exactly what we're trying to do. So that's a comfort for me. That's a real comfort for me. But it's really exciting for me to be able to install a defense that I know like the back of my hand. A lot of what we're doing is things that I actually want to do as far as coming from New Orleans into Detroit. So if there's an issue, I can quickly fix it. And that feels exciting to me. So knowing Frank, knowing what he brings to the table, knowing what Duke brings to the table, and me being able to call defense and fix issues that we have, man, I look forward to that. I really do.
Yeah. Sadiq was obviously back out there today. How good was it to get him out there? And what excites you most about getting a chance to use a guy with that kind of skill set?
Yeah, obviously he's man, he's big. He's 250 pounds, and we know he runs a 4.3. He has really good hands. To be able to utilize him in a number of different ways, and again, I don't want to sit there and talk about how we're going to use him. It's really exciting, man, to match him up with the other tight ends that we have, and I think that room is it's really improving. I really do. It's good to have him out there. We're going to take it slow with him to make sure he can catch up on everything he needs to catch up with. But he's going to be a huge weapon for us, and I'm looking forward to how we're going to utilize him.
A lot of things have changed. Quarterbacks, coaches, we went through a bunch of them. Personnel, the objectives and the goals. Where are they right now?
Say that one more time.
The objectives and the goals for this team in year 2.
And I'm gonna continue to be consistent with what I just told everybody else. It's not fair to myself. It's not fair to the players to really give you my message into the players, what our goals are. But I would say this: everybody's goals to win. Everybody's goes to do that. Everybody goes to be competitive. Everybody goes to improve, right? And I will tell you that. But when it comes to the specifics of what I told our guys, I'm going to keep that between me and the players.
What are your expectations for Garrett as he enters his 5th season?
Well, Garrett's feeling good, and he looks good. And me and Garrett had a number of conversations in the offseason. And I would say this: he's chomping at the bit. Especially with the type of offense that we have, and especially the way that Frank's going to utilize all those guys. And I know you guys heard Frank talk about this. I know you heard the players talk about this, about how the players are able to use their instincts but be disciplined while they're using it. And I think that fits exactly what Garrett can do well. So I'm looking forward to him doing that.
In terms of analytics, this offseason, it felt like there was something that's talked about in AI and incorporated stuff like that. How did you guys feel like through the offseason of player personnel, better market draft, and then into in-game stuff? How do you think you incorporate the analytics and the AI side of things?
I'm glad you asked that question, because that was this offseason for me, doing my study and doing my research. So I have my own way that I study this game. And to be able to back that up, I go to our analytics department. And when I give them, I don't give them my answers, but I give them like a problem that I want them to take a look at. And I try to see if that matches up. And for the most part, that helps me with my research. And I make sure I question them on how they look at things. And I make sure they question me on how I look at things. And we try to come together for an answer. So, man, that was huge for me this offseason as far as the research on, man, what are the predictors of winning this league? Like, what is that? How does that look? And being able to have an answer for that and being able to articulate that to our players and let that be a focus. Let that be a focus. So, again, I will keep really the messaging to between me and my players, but and that was huge for me this offseason to be able to do that.
A couple more with regard to, you spoke to us earlier in the year about calling plays and getting into that.
Yeah.
As your superpower, I think you were using those words. What are the things that energize you most about getting back into doing that?
When there's an issue on defense, I can quickly fix it, because I know the defense like the back of my hand, and that feels really, really good. That feels really good. And to be able to coach everybody from D-line, linebackers, DBs, to be able to be really specific, and this is what I'm looking for, and this is how I want to go. And then the players responding to that and knowing exactly what that is. That feels really good to be able to do that. I've said this before, I miss doing that. And to be able to make the decision to say, listen, AG, you go out there and call it. It felt good today in practice. It felt really good today in practice. So I'm looking forward to the go forward. I'm looking forward to our players improving too. And I'm just talking about in general, offense, defense, and special teams. Again, everybody is excited. Competing and improving is where we're at right now.
Aaron, I think Mari's guy, I don't think we talked about him in the spring at all. What was it about him that you felt would be a good fit for your defense? What do you think he can bring to your defense?
Yeah, I think if you look over my career from New Orleans, even Detroit, if you look at the ends that I've had, most of those guys were big men, athletic, that has rush ability, man, can really set an edge. So going through free agency and looking at the players that I want to fit what I was trying to do, it was easy for me to recognize who that player was. I knew him coming out of college, I think South Carolina. I was with him in the Senior Bowl, actually. And, man, he impressed me at the Senior Bowl coming out. Man, I was shocked that he went in the 5th round, right, to Green Bay. And to be able to bring him here now, knowing everything I knew about him, man, I feel really good about that pick. I feel really good about getting him in free agency. So he fits everything that I want to do on defense. So I'm looking forward to him improving what he's doing too.
Thanks, everybody.
All good? Appreciate it, fellas.
Thank you.
So there's Aaron Glenn. And, well, first training camp press conference is in the books. If you're watching live, hit the like button. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We're going to kick off training camp in style on our show today. Today's daily raffle prize. And if you're new, we give out signed Jets items every day on this show. And every week we give out 3 to 5 signed items in our weekly raffle. Today's raffle prize is a signed Garrett Wilson helmet with the inscription that says 2022 number 10 pick in the draft on it. So that's the prize that is up for grabs today on the show. For more on the Glenn presser, let's bring on our good friend Omari Brown, who of course covers the Jets for JetX. Omari, AG, first presser in the books. And I'll tell you what, the first thing that stood out to me is he's trying to do a much better job at controlling his messaging so it doesn't get taken by the media and the fans and it's potentially used against him later on. He was asked multiple times to self-reflect on the things that he wanted to improve on. He didn't want to go there. He also was asked about what his message was to the team. He didn't want to go there. So at least through one presser, we'll see if this lasts, Aaron Glenn clearly trying to be way more guarded with the media than he was a year ago when he was letting it fly in these pressers and taking shots at the Saleh coaching staff and promising things that he obviously didn't deliver on at all.
Absolutely, man. Jake, how you doing? I thought this was good. There was no hype. There was he spoke about processes. He didn't really, he kept it. He gave us a little bit, but didn't give us too much. He was under control. He talked about the processes, and he actually spoke about how, without saying it, he kind of felt like a fish out of water, not really knowing what to do. One thing that I really took away is that he said now, in terms of defensive adjustments, now he's going to be able to identify what the problem is, and then he can troubleshoot it a little bit quicker. So I thought that was great as well. And Jake, we've always talked about this. We like our coaches to, under promise and over deliver. And this is a coach that you feel that you can root for. This is a coach that you want to get behind. And this is a coach that you want to give the benefit of the doubt. And unfortunately, the benefit of the doubt has kind of slipped away with last year's performance. But this version of Aaron Glenn, this is a version that you can root for.
I think you're onto something there. And look, obviously, the only thing that's going to matter is can the Jets go out there and win some football games. But in terms of what the messaging was on day one, that was a noticeable difference from what we've seen from Glenn. Some of the other things that we should note, the injury stuff. T'Vondre Sweat, Glenn saying he's not concerned with the hamstring injury. Sweat was running on the side field, so at least he's doing something. And again, anytime you're talking about a 350-pound big defensive tackle dealing with any sort of soft tissue injury, you worry a little bit because we need him healthy for that week 1 revenge game down in Nashville against his old team. Aaron Glenn also said that D'Angelo Pons strained his calf. Glenn saying he'll be fine. He's not going to miss any significant time. So certainly that is something to watch because I think Pons has a legit chance of winning a starting job in the secondary as a rookie. And then 2 positive injury notes. Kenyon Sadiq had the minor sports hernia injury. Well, it was in fact minor. He was back out there full go, made some plays today, according to reporters on site covering practice. And Kate Klubnik, who missed minicamp with a back injury, he's healthy. He participated today in training camp. So some good, some bad in regards to these Jet injuries we're monitoring at the start of camp here, Omari.
Yeah, that's really good. That's what you want to hear. And, outside of the Geno stuff, which Glenn touched on, and I thought that he did a good job of navigating that. Again, giving us information, but not really revealing too much of what's going on. I thought he handled that really well too. And the injuries front, like you said, it's really good to hear that, your anchor, your hopeful anchor of the run defense is not going to miss any time. And that, the big fellow was moving on the sideline. The injury to D'Angelo Pons isn't anything serious. So hopefully the Jets can make it to the revenge game, week 1, pretty much, all healthy. We finally got to where we've been trying to get to ever since April. Ever since the draft, you're just trying to get to training camp. You want your team not to have any distractions. And we're finally here. And I think that his first presser was controlled, even keeled, and it was somebody that you want to lead your team. So I don't really have any notes. Shout out to Will Parkinson. I believe that was him that asked about the analytics and the AI. I thought he handled that really well, pretty well as too. he's seeking. He understands that he probably didn't do the best job that he could have, and he came in like Brees Hall said. Sometimes you come into New York and you bite off a little bit more than you can chew, and I think that we've all been a victim of that living in New York. So this is good. He's seeking other options. He's seeking advice, and he's trying to reinvent himself as he takes on this next step. Every season is different, and he knows that he's going into this year with a laser focus because he knows that he has a lot to prove. And, we talked about this last time. This is a desperate team. The head coach, the quarterback, the offensive coordinator, and some of the players, they have a lot to prove. So, desperate sometimes. When you're desperate, that's when the best of you shows.
You're not wrong. You are certainly not wrong. Hit the like button if you're just joining us. Just an FYI, the chat is working for users, but it's not coming up in StreamYard, so I have to reference it specifically right off YouTube. So if you get the membership and the super chat, I promise I'll acknowledge it, and we'll get to your questions. I just won't be able to actually physically bring it up on the screen. So keep that in mind if you were watching the show. Omari Brown with us here. We're talking all things Jets, reacting to the first press conference of training camp from Aaron Glenn. And look, in terms of what this training camp needs to be about, clearly Glenn taking over the defensive play calling is going to be a big focus. He referenced Brian Duker knowing everything there is to know about how Aaron Glenn wants to run his defense. That better be the case, because with Aaron Glenn taking over play calling, he's still the head coach. So on game days, he's going to have to be watching the offense and being a head coach and being prepared to call timeout or decide whether to go for it or use a challenge, all the things that come with being a head coach while still being in charge of the defense. So you better have hired a good staff under you that can implement the adjustments you need the defense to make in game. That if you notice something, you could say, hey, Duker, tell them next time we come out, we're going to do this because of this. And you have to hope that you hired a staff that can relay what you want to be relayed, because you're not going to have the time to go sit on the sideline while the offense is on the field and work with the defense. That's not going to happen. So I thought it was important that he referenced just how much faith he has in Brian Duker. And Glenn, when also asked about calling the defense, said, if there's an issue, I could tell someone to fix it and know exactly what I'm talking about. This defense better be significantly improved if the Jets want any shot at being better than most outside this fan base expect, because if they're not, I don't know if this offense with Geno Smith is going to be good enough to just carry the entire team most weeks. So him talking about the defense there, that's notable. And Brian Duker is going to play a role in that.
Yeah, I don't think the Jets at this juncture right now, they've added a ton of talent and they've infused a lot of youth and Glenn players. And we'll touch on that a little bit as well, too. But yeah, like this team, I don't think right now this team is going to be good enough to have one phase of the ball not holding up their end of the bargain. So it is good. Communication is a big thing, Jake. Even what we're doing, communication has to be a big thing. Us leading up to a show, communication is huge. So I think now he's not going to be grasping. He's not going to have those blank looks. A lot of fans that talk to us, they tell us that Glenn looked absolutely lost on Sundays. And some of that is right. He never really had his bearings. So he knows now, he knows that he's going to be calling plays, and that's just going to keep him engaged. But then when, obviously being the head coach, he gets called to other duties. If the offense is struggling, he now knows that Brian Duker is going to speak that same language. So I think that the play caller, the coordinator, and whoever has a green dot all need to speak the same language. And fortunate for Aaron Glenn, Duker, and now Demario Davis, they're all going to speak that same language. And then even further than that, David Onyemata is going to speak the same language. Harrison Phillips is going to speak the same language. So I think the communication allows people to play faster. It's going to allow Aaron Glenn to be more comfortable and him be more free. So I do think the defense is going to be a little bit better just because everyone's going to be on the same accord. But again, Jake, there's no scapegoat. So if the defense doesn't come out humming and hit the ground running and have the identity that we're always speaking about, it's going to be an issue. And we're going to look directly at Aaron Glenn, and he's going to have to answer some tough questions at the pressers.
There's no doubt. And ultimately, this defense got a lot of players that Aaron Glenn wanted. It's not like Darren Muji just said, these are the players you're going to get, and that's it. He listened to Glenn. You want David Onyemata? He's yours. You want to bring back Demario Davis? You want to go out there and trade for Tavondre Sweat? We're going to make this happen for you. Fix the defense. Go out there and prove that play calling is your superpower. They asked Glenn about that, and he kind of laughed it off. But that quote is going to be following him all year if this team does not dramatically improve, because, look, they're going to improve, but it's can you significantly improve? Can you force turnovers, some takeaways? That's going to be the key. Be opportunistic. Be the reason why this team is winning some games. Again, Saleh might not have been a great head coach, but his defense has won the Jets games with inept quarterback play. We're going to have to see Aaron Glenn do something similar some weeks, because while Geno's better than what we've seen the last couple of years, he's still going to have games where he's turning it over and he's not great. So the defense is going to have to pick him up.
And I think in the first quarter of the season, and they have a gauntlet, the hope is that, at the beginning of the year, some teams are slow to come out the gate and the Jets can pounce on them and surprise them a little bit. But again, like, the defense is going to have to be good because, as you know, Jake, offenses usually take a little bit longer to gel than a defense. It's much easier to run, chase, and hit and know your assignments than it is to, like, the timing. Geno underthrew A.D. Mitchell. It's just going to take a little bit of time. Aaron, they said the Cade Klubnik pass to Aaron Smith was a little bit overthrown.
He's in midseason form.
He is. That's why I tweeted. I said, we are so back. It's just good. I don't really put too much stock into training camp stats and 7-on-7s and things like that. But it's just fun. It's fun to see grown men out there in helmets and shorts and running around and not getting hurt, man. It's an exciting time, but also it's a serious time too, because the stakes are pretty high.
Look, this is an important camp. Ultimately, are we going to learn a ton about what this team is in camp? I mean, you'll learn some stuff, you always do, but not everything that happens in training camp actually matters, as we know. But being healthy is the biggest thing, and just seeing kind of how it looks, and at least going into training camp. I'm playing some highlights here, courtesy of SNY on the screen if you're watching live. Cade Klubnik's entering camp, Omari, with a real chance to be the backup quarterback for week 1. Give me your thoughts on that.
I mean, I love it. For a 4th-round pick, and we said this directly after, some people were complaining that they traded up, and I was actually one of those people because I thought that they overlooked interior offensive line. But again, if Cade Klubnik, I think one of the best storylines about this is that you can get marginal QB play from Geno Smith. You can have a foundation, and then you really think that Cade Klubnik can be the backup here, the long-term backup for a handful of years, at least throughout the duration of his rookie deal. And if anything happens to the starter this year, Geno, or your eventual starter that you look for in 2027 and beyond, he's a spot starter. He's exactly what Davis Mills is for the Houston Texans. If CJ Stroud gets banged up, if your starter gets banged up, that the talent level is going to die down a bit, but he can win you a handful of games while your quarterback is out for hopefully a short period of time. I think that would be the best case scenario for Cade Klubnik, the 4th-round pick, is that he can win that number 2 job.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching live, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. We hit over 46,000 subscribers yesterday, so I just want to thank the Asmaniac community for having our backs and tuning into content year-round. It's about to be a lot more fun with daily camp reactions and certainly some big-name guests that will join us all throughout the summer, getting you set for the upcoming Jet season. And look, speaking of getting set for the season, I need to get some sleep this year, all right? It's hard sometimes doing the show and watching a terrible Jet game and then having a nightmare about what we just watched. That's why Brooklyn Bedding hooked me up with one of their brand new mattresses, and I slept in mine for the first time last night. It lived up to the hype. I ordered the queen size Aurora Luxe cooling mattress with medium firmness and the added cloud pillow top. It's the most popular option on their website, and for good reason. It was the perfect combo of comfort and support. The cooling technology helped me stay comfortable throughout the night without waking up overheated. So I'm pumped about this. If you need a new bed, if you're on the fence about it, check it out. They have a 120-night sleep trial. So try out a bed if you don't like it or you want a different model. They give you that option. 30% off site-wide for their summer sale right now. You just have to use that promo code Jake at checkout, brooklynbedding.com. All the info is linked in the video, brooklynbedding.com, promo code Jake at checkout for 30% off site-wide. I mentioned the prize today. It is a Garrett Wilson signed helmet. And while the YouTube chat through StreamYard is not letting me bring up comments, I do see Windy City Jet Fan gifted a channel membership. So he is in the Asmaniac raffle for 5. Let's go.
We're the freaking New York Jets, so we're built for this shit.
Also, I want to shout out a gifted membership from Ozzy Fullers. Ozzy, thank you for that. And Genergy wrote congratulations on 46,000. So she purchased a $20 super chat. That's 4 raffle tickets for Genergy. Mad Max had a super chat saying, Glenn's clueless. He thinks he can coach defenses. His defenses in Detroit were not good. I mean, they were not good for the first 3. The last year, they were pretty good despite a lot of injuries. But the Jets don't have time to wait for Glenn's fourth year calling the plays for the defense to finally be a respectable unit. This has got to be an immediate impact right away.
Yeah, I wouldn't say. I think it's a little harsh to say that the defenses weren't good. They were opportunistic. They were more of a bend don't break, and they had a high-powered offense. So again, they were more focused on. They gave up a ton of yardage, but they were opportunistic in taking the ball away. Now, the Jets aren't going to have the Detroit, Lion offense that was being called by Ben Johnson. I don't think that that's what I'm trying to say. But again, I think that they're going to be a lot better than they were last year. And I know that that's not saying much, but I'm not going to tell anybody how to feel or tell them how to fan about Aaron Glenn. But I think this notion that he's completely clueless, I think that we've gone, farther left on the spectrum than I would agree with. I don't think that he's absolutely clueless. He doesn't know what he's doing. As a head coach, when he had two offensive coordinators and he wasn't calling plays, yes, he did look clueless because he felt out of place. And I think that now he has his anchor. And it's something, it's almost like, Jake, when you speak in front of a large contingent of people, you're always looking for that anchor, so if you start to get nervous, if your eyes start to wander, or even if you lose your spot in your presentation, or it's like flashcards, you can always go back to it and say, okay, I have to reset and here's where I need to be. I think calling the defense keeps him engaged in the game. And then also he has a better feel for the game because he's calling it and he's seeing it and he's reacting to it. So, and the flow of the game, being able to call it, he can actually help out Frank Reich as well, too. Now, I'm not telling anybody how to feel about Aaron Glenn because he doesn't deserve the benefit of the doubt. But I think that people thinking that he's just completely clueless and doesn't know anything about in terms of X's and O's, I think that that's a little bit unfair. What would you say to that?
Yeah, I totally agree. And look, I mean, the bottom line is this: we could evaluate Glenn as head coach this year without any doubt on whether or not he's good or bad. Like, there's no gray area at the end of this year. It's either we know we have our guy or we don't. And if we're on the fence, I'd move on because of how attractive I believe the Jet job could be for an experienced coach, or if you want to go down the path of the up-and-coming offensive guru because you're going to draft a quarterback high, I'll at least entertain it, though I do prefer experience for this job because of everything I said 2 years ago when they went through the search that led them to Glenn in the first place. Like, the roster is good enough to see whether or not Aaron Glenn should be here. No one's expecting playoffs, but you can't start 0-4. You have to have a season. You have to be in the hunt. You have to be playing meaningful games by the holidays. Like, you're not asking for much. They did this with Robert Saleh with a worse roster in a lot of key areas, including quarterback, most notably.
Yeah, I'm with you. And shout out to Rich. I got to talk to Rich a little bit. I believe it was him that said on Jets Collective that this is a bottom third roster. I don't think it's a bottom third roster if the rookies, and I know that this is saying a lot, if the rookies are coached properly and they hit the ground running. You have the number 2 overall pick, the highest defensive Jet that was ever drafted. He should be able to make some splash plays. You had 3 first rounders. Those guys should be able to make some splash plays. Garrett Wilson hit the ground running. I know that Omar Cooper's, the 30th overall pick, and Garrett was the top 10 pick. But you also have Kenyon Sadiq, who arguably was tight end number 1 on most boards. So those guys should be able to make some significant contributions early on. So I wouldn't say that this is like a bottom half roster. I wouldn't say I can't think that there are 29 other teams that have more talent than the Jets. I would say they're probably in that top 25 range. So yeah. I think that we're going to get a full idea of who Aaron Glenn is as a head coach. And I'm with you, Jake. I think that they can, even if they luck into, 7 or 8 wins. I think if you have any questions about him as a coach, I think you need to move on.
Amen. Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. John J. Williams, his patent in Venmo I can't speak today. His patent in Zelle. He purchased himself 2 entries in our raffle today on the show for a signed Garrett Wilson helmet. We also have the weekly raffle, which is going to be Sunday of this week. For those of you just tuning in, welcome back. We give out prizes every week on the show in bulk form. So every day we give out a prize, and throughout the week we give out even more expensive and awesome prizes. Usually on Saturday or Sunday. This week it's Sunday. Our top prizes this week are a Darrelle Revis signed football, Garrett Wilson signed football, and a D'Angelo Pons, hopefully his calf injury is A-okay, signed helmet. So if you want to win, you can enter during every show, and you play for a daily prize, and you're also in the weekly. Throughout the week, we total up all the entries and give someone a chance to win. So, John, thank you very much for your incredible support. You are in for 2. I see there's a super chat from a different Omari in the chat who says he'd love to see Bart Scott come on this show if possible. Omari, I could tell you this, it's in the works. So, obviously, Bart was unfortunately part of the ESPN layoff, so he's no longer with ESPN. He's a free agent, but I consider Bart someone that I got to know pretty well and certainly friendly with and have done some shows with. So I'd love to have him back on the show. It's been a couple years since that, and I will work on that for you, Omari. But trust me, you are definitely not alone with that thought. Also, shout out to Doug C in the chat who goes, Jets will go from last to first. #believe. Doug, send us whatever drugs down in Australia you're consuming because I'd love to try. Omari, your thoughts?
I don't know about worst to first, but again, so you got to believe. Listen, like I said, Jake, one of my biggest monikers is fan how you want to fan. I'm never going to stop anybody from believing and being optimistic at this time of year. But Doug, I don't know, man. I don't know. On this side of the world, we're not as optimistic as you are, but hopefully, man, we'll see. And that would be cool to get Bart on here, especially after some games, he can really break down the X's and O's, especially defensively. So we'll be able to find out pretty quickly if Glenn is really doing some good things. So that would be awesome. It's unfortunate that Bart, his contract wasn't renewed. I like listening to him on the radio. He's a personality. He has great stories.
Oh, yeah. And some of the stories I've heard from Bart, you can't say on air. So those are some of the best stories that I've heard from Bart during some of these commercial breaks. Let me tell you about that. Speaking of things you can't say on air, Aaron Glenn is testing the limits during press conferences.
I'm not trying to be a butthole.
Omari, what do you think this means for the Jets' chances that Aaron Glenn said today he's not trying to be a butthole?
I think this is more for the beat. He's trying to let them know, like, guys, I'm not going to be a butthole. I don't know why you would say butthole. But this is good. This is a very low key, even keeled Aaron Glenn. I'm sure the communication team was like, listen, let's not give these guys something to write about. Let's not give Jake something memeable every single time we're at the podium. So again, he's not trying to be a butthole.
I'm not trying to be a butthole.
What he meant to say is asshole, but he didn't want to say that. So I appreciate the butthole usage there by Aaron Glenn. That came in reference for those just tuning in when he was asked what were some of his blind spots in his first year as a head coach. And he said, quote, I'm not trying to be a butthole. I want to keep that to myself. Say he did a lot of looking at how he could be better coming out of last season. Look, he was awful last year. We don't need to try and pretend otherwise. There was nothing he did well as a head coach. And anyone trying to tell you differently is lying to you. I'll keep it real on this show. He's lucky to have a job. That said, I'm a Jet fan, and I hope he really improves dramatically. I think it starts with hiring a better staff, which a little bumpy how we got there, obviously, but I do think their coaching staff is better than it was at this time last year. Couldn't be any worse. I think they've upgraded talent in key areas, and they've most importantly upgraded that quarterback. So there's enough here where if Aaron Glenn has truly reflected on what went wrong and he has learned from it, then he should be able to show us enough in his second year where this team is dramatically better. They look well coached. They look prepared, and they're going to be able to go out there and give us a respectable season with the arrow pointed up at the end of it, that going into one of the most important off seasons in Jet franchise history with the most cap space in the NFL and 3 first-round picks, they're going to be able to put together a roster that's going to be competing for the playoffs by 2027. That's the expectation. And if you don't think Aaron Glenn could do that by the end of this year, he's gone. And there's no gray area in that area.
Yeah, you know what else I found interesting? He kept talking about the communication and language and the buy-in. And it seems like he just didn't have, and this is the coaching staff too. He talked about Frank, he understands exactly what they want to do. They were teammates. They speak the same language. He kept talking about communication and language. I'm looking through my notes here. So it just seems like he just didn't feel comfortable with his staff last year, which kind of makes sense because it looks like that. I mean, the offense was putrid. And again, he talked up Justin Fields. And again, however you guys want to feel about Justin Fields, I'm not going to argue against you in Tanner Engstrand. But again, it just seems like he has his people in-house. I'm not trying to make excuses for him, but I think he intentionally kept talking about communication. Did you pick up on that? The communication and the language is all going to be the same and everyone being on the same accord. Now,
well, great point, because you could see, Omari, last year, did the Jets ever look like they had any sort of plan or knew what they were doing?
Never. I mean, the players, I talk about Jacksonville. I saw linebackers run into each other on the play action and the misdirection. So it was just, it was a circus on the field last year. So now he just keeps harping on the communication. Now, I don't know if he's just trying to speak confidence and life into his staff. But again, it just seems like he's very secure in the people. I feel like he trusts the people that he hired, and hopefully he does, because he fired a lot of people. But I just found it interesting that he kept, I wrote it, put it in quotations, the communication. Like he just kept harping on that and the language. Yep. And now I think that everyone is going to be on the same accord. I think he and Muji have been on the same accord, but I don't know if head coach to OC to DC to the leadership within the locker room, we're all on the same accord, if that makes sense.
If you're watching the show live, make sure you are liking the video and you're subscribed to the channel. Again, raffle prize is a signed Garrett Wilson helmet. Let's open up voting for the Azzy Awards. They continue this morning. We've gone through a bunch of categories so far. This will be the 7th Azzy Award that we vote on today. 7 of 22. Each show, a new award that is up for grabs for the Asmaniacs to decide who wins. The Need More Calls Award is today's category. Your vote will determine who wins the Azzy. The nominees are Leany in North Carolina, King Lowski, Mets 2128, and Amanda. Ladies and gentlemen, voting for this morning's Azzy Awards is officially underway.
Cast your vote for the best. It's time for the Azzy Awards. It's time for the Azzy Awards. Cast your vote for the best. It's time for the Azzy Awards.
Vote, vote, vote. Your vote determines who wins the Azzy. This afternoon, we're going to do a full training camp recap of the first practice of the season. Robbie Sabo is coming on. So we've spent a lot of time talking about the quotes from Glenn. We'll get to some other topics, and we'll fill you in on what some of the reporters were saying about practice in a moment here. But the real nuanced, detailed breakdown on what we saw, that's coming this afternoon when Robbie Sabo joins me at 4 p.m. Also this afternoon, the Best Takes Award is up for grabs in the Azzy Awards. Gary, Kyle Clifton, La Rooster, and Doc Jetfan are your nominees for that one. So get ready. Open phone lines. If you want in on the show, the link is pinned, the Gusbuster Umbrella hotline. Remove the poll if you don't see it, and it is there. What did you think of Glenn's first presser? What stood out? We got a super chat from Bang Mateo, who says the fact that AG is a student trying to learn to be a head coach proved that last year, behind a learning curve, is the Jet head coaching job. It is not an entry-level position. I've said this because the guy who takes over is inheriting a playoff drought that is now going to be at the end of this year at 16 years. And it encompasses you. It's tough. There's so much spotlight on you. The second things go wrong, everyone piles on and it gets snowball. And we've seen this. And the Knicks had to go through this till they finally hired proven guys that knew how to get them out of it. And it started with hiring Thibodeau and Leon Rose. We did a masterful job, of course. So, that's why if you're the Jets and this year doesn't go well, you got to hope and pray that Muji did another nice job with this draft class and these moves that we like actually look pretty good. And he could use his contacts around the league and attract a real coach that could come in and provide stability to this franchise. And again, I don't think it's a first timer, right? You could sell me on the genius offensive guy because you are going to go quarterback, but I would feel much better about someone who's been a successful head coach in a prior destination taking over this job than yet another first timer learning on the job in the toughest place in the NFL, I believe, to learn, the New York Jets.
I'm not going to lie to you, Jake. I'm right in lockstep with you. I think that being the head coach of the New York Jets is not the same as being the head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals. Just like being the head coach or the president of operations for the New York Knicks is not the same as holding those positions with the Memphis Grizzlies or even the Houston Rockets. I think that if this goes off the rails, as only we know that the Jets can do and break our hearts, I think you're going to have to assemble the Avengers. I know Doomsday is coming out. It's going to have to be, a longtime head coach, a former head coach at OC, a former head coach at DC that are absolutely elite. I think that that's going to be the only way that you can get us out of this. And it's unfortunate too, because whoever comes in at quarterback, the rookie, they're just going to have an unreal amount of expectations. And whoever takes over as the head coach, they're going to inherit 16 years of heartache. They're going to inherit the LOL Jets, just like Tom Thibodeau and Leon Rose did. But as what we saw those guys do, it is doable. It was LOL Knicks for almost 2 decades. They had some sprinkles of brilliance in there. They won 54 games with Melo, but again, it was LOL Knicks for a really long time. And as we're seeing right now, people are just piling on. We got Plexico Burress, who I thought the Jets treated fairly well. They gave him a second opportunity after he shot himself in a club. He came out of prison and the Jets gave him an opportunity. And funny enough, I don't understand how he compared the Jets to prison when the Jets were coming off back-to-back AFC championships and they were 8-8. And they gave you an opportunity to pay back all your debt and to get back on your feet. And now it's, you're comparing playing for the Jets to prison. So I just don't see it. But again, everybody is piling on right now because that's the easiest thing to do. It's low-hanging fruit.
What Plaxico Burress said was some of the lamest thing I've ever seen from a professional athlete. I mean, dude, you can make fun of the Jets, right? There's a lot to choose from. You can't, though, Plaxico, because you joined the Jets when they were one of the favorites to win the Super Bowl, and they were coming off 2 straight trips to the AFC title game. And you said the Jets were the only team that made you a contract offer. So they gave you a chance to get back in football, and the team was 8-5, and because you sucked down the stretch and the offense fell apart, the team collapsed, finished 8-8, and missed the playoffs. The Jets were not this dysfunctional franchise when he joined them. They made the playoffs 6 out of the last 10 years when he showed up. And him coming in and replacing a true character guy in Braylon Edwards, that was part of the downfall of the Rex Ryan, Mike Tannenbaum era together. It was a horrible decision to get rid of Braylon, a horrible, even worse decision to get rid of Jericho Cotchery for Derek Mason. So I don't want to hear it from Plaxico. Go shoot yourself in the leg, you bumbling idiot, than to take a shot at the Jets. We all know there's plenty of things you could rip the Jets for, but Plaxico Burress, give me a break, dude. I thought that was the lamest thing ever. Just, let me take my pot shots at the Jets because it's a cheap laugh from people who don't know any better. So stupid.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate. And again, we're on a podcast right now. We're talking, and you do a daily show. So again, everybody's looking for that viral moment. It's all about virality right now. And unfortunately, as Jets fans and as Jet creators, we're going to be at the butt of a lot of those jokes. But again, I think that a lot of people, listen, you could say anything you want about Woody Johnson. I won't stop you. You can talk about Aaron Glenn. You could even talk about Robert Saleh and them not giving them a chance. I will let a lot of things go, but there's certain things that you can't let go. And that's what I try to remind people. Like those early 2000s and those early 2010s, the Jets were not a joke. Like the Jets we used to go into every Sunday thinking that we had a chance. And I remember, it's just a lot of, you actually really broke it down. I forgot that they were 8-5 because that just seems so long ago. Yeah, Plex wasn't like those type of moves, like the Jericho Cotchery for Derek Mason and the Braylon Edwards and swapping them out for Plaxico Burress. Those are crippling moves. And like I said, everybody can talk about the Jets right now, but Plaxico isn't one of those because the Jets did right by Plaxico Burress.
Well, breaking Jet news here, and I'll tell you why this is notable. Darren Muji, who's not required to speak, just showed up at the podium and is doing an impromptu press conference with the local Jet reporters. So Muji's feeling himself, as he should. He's already planting the seeds that'll be more accessible. He'll be out there. I'm telling you, for anyone who doesn't believe me, you're just wrong. Trust me when I say this, that the organizational structure is different than what it was at this time a year ago. Muji is not a sidekick. Him and Aaron Glenn are on very much even playing grounds here, and they're not attached at the hip. Muji could definitively be here, and Aaron Glenn wouldn't be if Glenn doesn't win enough games and look the part like a head coach. And Muji speaking today when he doesn't have to is another sign that things are a little different, that he's willing to curry a little favor with the local reporters here, knowing that if this season is a bleep show, he's still going to get some positive press because the media is going to latch on to him knowing he'll probably be here hiring the next coach. Trust me, I know how the game works, and it is notable that Darren Muji is speaking right now when he doesn't have to. I'm just going to throw that out, and I'll see if he says anything notable, and we can talk about it here in real time. But Darren Muji speaking today when he does not have to. Again, he's not required to. Only the head coach is during training camp. That is not a nothing burger. Trust me on that.
Absolutely. He's stepping out into the forefront to let everybody know that he can handle this job and that he wants to separate himself, but also show confidence in his coach. And I absolutely love what he's doing. It's like, you ever seen a married couple that's on the rocks and they start separating themselves? They start doing things on their own. I feel like this is what Darren Muji is doing. He's out there. He's flirting through the media with Kevin O'Connell. He's really feeling himself, and as he should. There's been a lot. I've heard a lot of good things about Darren Muji behind the scenes, about the way he's reached out and checked in on certain situations and certain players. So I think that Muji is respected around the league. And I think that we're going to see him step out of his shell even more and be a little bit more vocal because he knows that he has to separate himself if it goes left the way we all know it can, he's going to have to save himself because he does. I think that he deserves to pick his quarterback. And I think that he's done enough to acquiesce Glenn to give him the pieces that he needs, but also make the moves to where everyone say, okay, like this guy deserves to pick his guy, eventually. I just think it's funny how it all happens because Glenn, Gase brought in Douglas, and then Douglas was here, and then he got to pick the next coach, and then Glenn basically brought in Muji, and now hopefully, he's gonna have to fire the guy who brought him in if he can't get the job done. So
Muji saying that the Jets want to win this year, asked about the expectations for the season when he's speaking. So the Mooj. And remember, Darren Muji changed the expectations immediately after last season ended. He sat up there and said, we expect to be respectable and competitive right away. He wasn't trying to act like this is going to be some sort of long-term rebuild. Joe Douglas loved to play that card. Sal loved to play that card that, just it takes forever to rebuild in the league. And this was an expansion roster. And, you need 4 or 5 years. Like Douglas was in his 6th season when the Jets finally fired him. Robert Saleh was in his 4th year. If you're good at your jobs, turnarounds take 2 years max in the NFL to go from a bad team to a team that's in the playoffs and competing. Like, it's not that hard to do. Again, look at all the year one success we saw with teams with new coaches a year ago. It happens all the time. There's teams that make the playoffs every year that didn't the prior year. On average, there's 6 every year that make the postseason in the NFL that didn't the previous year. It's never the Jets, but I say this to point out you should have a heightened raised bar for what Glenn and this team could do. We got to repick his staff. He got a mulligan for year one. They improved at quarterback. Expect this team to win at least 7-8 games as the bar. That should be the floor. And if they can't hit that, then there's going to need to be major changes here. And I think the guy at the podium talking right now is going to be the catalyst in getting the next coaching staff employed.
Another one of my favorite quotes is that rebuilds don't take 5 years. They don't. It took Joe Douglas 6 years to build that wall for Sam. We were, 3-4 quarterbacks in before the wall ever got built, and to be honest, it never got finished. So this does not take 5 years if you're good at your job. And I think that Darren Muji even showed that. You look at the talent level from last year after they gutted the roster to where they are day one of training camp, shows that rebuilds don't take 5 years. So again, I'm right there with you. I'm glad that he's setting that he wants to be competitive and they want to be respectable, because that should be that. Honestly, Jake, that shouldn't even be like an announcement. That should be the standard. Like a standard level for an NFL team, you should be able to be competitive and you should be able to be respectable. So I don't even think that that's him going out on a limb and saying that. So I'm right there. I'm right there with you. But I'm glad that he's out there. It seems like he's in a good mood. He should feel good about himself. I think that he's fielded a much better roster, and league wide, everyone is respecting the job that he's doing. So good for him.
The Mooj, baby, the Mooj. Comments, questions, super chats. Cut the line. Again, we're giving away a Garrett Wilson signed helmet today, who said that he feels great about where the Jets are at. He said it's going to be a special year for the New York Jets. God, do I hope Garrett Wilson is right about that. We mentioned Muji speaking right now. This is from the Jets X account. Here's Darren Muji talking about Glenn calling the defense.
Fun to watch. It's been, just even through the offseason, I felt like we had good OTAs to continue to build on that, but to see him engage with the players in the meetings, on the field, I think you see it today. You see that energy and enthusiasm with the defensive play calling, him having his hands on it and be kind of in the nitty gritty of it all.
Can I just say that the jacket there that Darren Muji is rocking, I need in the worst way. DeMario Davis wore it. Muji's wearing this. I need this in the worst way. That is so nice.
Yeah, it's clean. I quote tweeted it yesterday when I saw DeMario walking. I said, yeah, I need that windbreaker.
So, yeah, that windbreaker is. Oh,
you
man.
and me both. Yeah, it's clean. It's clean. I like it. Isn't that the old? That's the old logo, right?
Yeah, it's the throwback logo now.
It's the throwback logo. It. So that's probably was the logo when DeMario was here the first time or the second time. Yeah,
100%.
Nice. I like.
We got more from Muji, by the way. Here's Darren Muji again. This is courtesy of the Jets X account. Thanks to them for tweeting out some clips for us to play in real time. Here's the Muj discussing the contract extensions that he dished out to Brees and to Joe Tippmann. Here's Muj.
Brees and Tip done was important to us, and I'm glad we were able to do that. It was a really good process. Both parties, and I like where we landed with those guys, and having those guys, keeping them around, I know they're going to help this team.
I thought both those deals made sense. You know what I like about Muji? How proactive he's been with things. Like Douglas, offset language. We got guys holding out at the start of camp, just unnecessary drama. We're taking the Quinn Williams extension up until right as camp is started. Just the efficiency and the proactiveness that the Jets have operated with under Darren Muji has been a breath of fresh air. And again, what he has done to this point is a lot of singles and maybe some doubles with his moves. The big swings are maybe at coach if he gets the higher one, and certainly quarterback. But I like the process that he has showed with how he has gone about his business. And I think that's important because if you're going to turn things around, you got to have a good process, making good sound decisions. And eventually you hope you get some luck and you get it right.
Yeah, it's just like the Yankees when they loaded up on right-handed power bats. You can't have 7 guys in the lineup that are striking out 200 times a game. So you need some singles, you need some doubles, occasional triple here and there. And I think the Joe Tippmann and Breece Hall, those were just solid doubles. They got done. They were quiet. Everyone knew that it needed to get done. And I think you know what else I like about him outside of being proactive? He does what he says he's going to do. He said, hey, right after the draft, we're going to focus on Breece, and Breece is priority number 1, and we're going to get that done. They get it done. Breece is happy. Breece was a malcontent, according to some people. They get it done. We all said, like, hey, you and I were talking about this. Like, who else is going to be extension eligible? It was like, hey, Joe Tippmann. He's always available for the media. Says all the right things. He switched positions right before the season started when AVT went out with another injury. So he's been an above-average center. He's been an above-average guard. And now that's who you want to build your team around. You know, and I know that you talked about this already, but you know, dragging out the Jamal Adams stuff. Like Jamal Adams, you know, people forget now because it was sour and then we ended up trading him. But again, Jamal Adams was a guy that you could get behind. He was passionate. He played hard. He was a 2-time All-Pro. And there was no reason that you should have dragged it out like that. Now, again, that turned into Sauce and Garrett Wilson, and I thought that he did a good job with that. But again, Jamal Adams is somebody that you could have built around at that point. The Quinnen Williams deal did not have to drag out for that long. So it was I just thought that Joe Douglas always tried to be, and again, this isn't personal. I don't know Joe Douglas at all, but I just felt like he was always trying to win a negotiation or be the smartest man in the room. I felt like he didn't get taken advantage of. And sometimes you gotta give to get. And I think that if you overpaid slightly for Breece now, who cares if he's happy if you have the cap space? You have the cap space. You're not paying a quarterback. You're not paying anybody else. So give him a couple extra million. Joe Tippmann. You give him a market deal or even above market deal, and hopefully that he outplays it. Again, you're not paying anybody. Why do you have to win every negotiation? So I just like the way that Darren Muji operates. I think that he's been even keeled and objective, and he's made a lot of good decisions.
Speaking of decisions, trading Sauce and getting the 2-1s was great, and then getting A.D. Mitchell, also something that could be a huge part of this trade. Here's Darren Muji talking about A.D. Mitchell.
To see Adonine's continued growth. He had a good offseason, good OTAs, and expect to see that continued growth through the training camp. And I'm excited to watch him and the entire wideout group kind of come together and see how that looks.
Mooj. A.D. Mitchell, I'm excited for, man. I mean, Garrett's high on him. Gino certainly is high on him. You imagine they got a number 2 receiver out of that deal and Sadiq and another first still to come?
I mean, arguably, Jake, that might be one of the best trades in franchise history. It's definitely top 5. If A.D. Mitchell turns into a long-term number 2 and a running mate for Garrett Wilson, it's going to be hard. You're going to be hard pressed to find a better trade. I mean, trading John Abraham and getting a first round and becoming Nick Mangold, who's a Ring of Honor guy, that's a pretty good trade as well too. But you're going to be hard pressed to find a better trade. But you know, even his smaller deals, Juwan Briggs, he's probably one of the most underrated players. You know, as a defensive tackle 3, you're not going to find many third defensive tackles or DT2s that are going to be better than Juwan Briggs. The Jarvis Brownlee deal was strong. He's made some really good trades.
He certainly has. And that's been his big strength. And it's been nice to see the creative ways he could try and improve the roster. I think there's a chance he adds an interior lineman in a trade. I think there's a chance he adds another linebacker in a trade, backup quarterback even. Be creative with some of the guys who could become available off other teams. Like Darren Muji has shown he's willing to be aggressive and wheel and deal, and he's found great value in all these trades. I don't think he's lost a trade yet to this point.
No, he hasn't. That was going to be my nugget. We must be in sync today because I was going to say, what do you think his next trade is? Because he's looking at Howie. It's coming. He's looking at Howie. Like those two, since Darren Muji took over, I think he's made the most trades in the NFL as a GM. So he and Howie, I know that they're looking at each other. He's itching. Trade of Muji is definitely coming. I think it's going to be interior O-line though, because I think when you look at the weak spots, obviously you could look at QB, and I think that you could fill that without having to make a trade. I think interior O-line. Because if there's an injury to Dylan Parham or God forbid Joe Tippmann or even Josh Myers, we're talking Xavier Newman. And we're talking about Inez Cooper. And I don't know if Inez Cooper is ready to take significant snaps in the NFL right now if there was to be an injury. And I think that Josh Myers, I saw you and Joe B talking about it yesterday. I think that there should have been some competition in there for that center spot. I don't understand how they were going to have Josh Myers competing with Joe Tippmann, but then just give Josh Myers the job. I don't know how that made any sense. So I do think that they can upgrade that interior O-line. And linebacker, I'm not as worried about. I do think that they like Kiko, Francis Mawinoa. I think they like Kiko a lot. But yeah, I think interior O-line and definitely quarterback are going to be his next moves.
Garrett Wilson opening up about a noticeable thing Glenn has done differently so far. Take a listen.
Some of the things that you've noticed, whether it's been the offseason OTAs or even, very early.
Yeah, I would say just the communication line and the way AG wanted to build maybe his guys on the team that he wants to talk to and get that feedback from, and then bounce his thoughts of, we got a feedback group or a leadership group that's been going on through OTAs, and that is just fluid. It's like we're all aligned, and I kind of said that before, but that's one of the main differences I've noticed. And maybe it was his first year, so he's trying to feel things out, figure out who the guys are that he wants part of a unit like that. But this year we're doing that, and we got some guys in there that just really get this thing, like I've said, and they're gonna help us, get over that hump.
Who's in that group that most things?
I'm good. I can say the group. The guys you would probably figure. You know what I'm saying? We did, just not as. We did.
Experienced guys.
Yeah, exactly. It's just the guys in the room, man. Like I said before, these guys that come from different spots and have no association with that. With these past few years, have a different way of seeing things, right? And it's been really valuable for a guy like me and Brees and to hear their thoughts and then how they go about practice or lunch or the locker room and stuff like that. You don't realize it, but that stuff makes a difference. 100%.
So I like that a lot. Let's take a guess who's in this room with all the leaders. I know Garrett's in there. He referenced Brees, so Garrett and Brees. You paid Brees, so he's got to take on a more leadership role this year. So those are two. Minka for sure. 3. DeMario,
the easiest
for sure.
one.
Yeah,
Yes.
That's the most obvious. So we're at 4, right? So Minka, DeMario, Garrett, Brees. Keep going.
It's either going to be one of the D tackles, so Harrison Phillips or David Onyemata.
I think it's both of them.
Okay. All right. Good.
And
I think it's those guys. So, and I think that's 6, right? Or maybe they'll do, 5 vets and then have the younger vets and Brees and Garrett kind of help out. I'm trying to think.
Gino's in there too.
Gino, yeah.
So it's probably 7.
I think
there's probably 7 players in there.
Yeah. And I like that. And again, Jake, what did we talk about? Alignment and communication. And you could even tell, he said, the outlook. He said things that you wouldn't even think mattered, they do matter. The little things do matter. How you practice. Yeah, I don't know if you got a chance to see, and I talked about this last time, the interview with Quincy Enunwa, Eric Allen, and Azarie Thomas. And he just talked about Minka Fitzpatrick being able to criticize him without making him feel bad and saying, when we step in between these two lines, this is how we practice. Or him just bending down. He said, hey, stand up, because when we're in between the white lines, this is what we do. Again, coaches need to be developed, Jake. Offensive coordinators, even head coaches, they need to be developed. And sometimes, you have to learn how to be a pro. And you can only do that. Who better to teach you how to be a pro than somebody that's a former All-Pro and they've been a stand-up pro and a good guy for the locker room for their whole career. So again, I don't want to overvalue what they did, but I do think that those guys are going to have significant changes that we probably won't even be able to see. I think the locker room, the feeling in the locker room is going to be a lot different. And you could even tell Garrett by his expression that he didn't even realize that things had gotten so bad.
More from Darren Muji. Here's the Muj talking about where the Jet roster is at.
The roster's at, and I think you hit it. We've got a good blend of young guys and what we believe is the right, mix of vet and the right veterans to help, kind of mold some of these young guys and change the culture. And I'm excited to see how the roster kind of takes shape in training camp. This is an integral part of building that roster.
The roster, baby. We're building it. We're building it. One more from the Mooj. Here's Darren Muji talking about how the Jets are using a little AI to help them.
AI front, I think to this point, what it's helped with the most is the automation of things, right? We're saving a lot of man hours being able to automate information and systems and spit it out quickly. So it's been huge, and I look forward to the continued growth as the organization with the AI and the analytics.
Have you used much of the AI yourself? Have you been?
Yeah, absolutely. Like we've integrated it into our systems. Again, for a lot of data breakdowns, we can just do things a lot quicker, and it's allowed for more efficiency, the automation. And I toy around with, the chat GPTs and the different things. We have in-house ones that we can do for different questions, but really it's all the integrate information, the in-house information, and the data points. That's been cool.
The Jets using a little AI, Omari. Your thoughts?
How soon before we get somebody breaks an email that Glenn sent out an email to the team and he left in the prompt? You think we get that? One of
Jet GPT.
Jet GPT, baby. Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. You never want your front office for your favorite team to feel like they're behind. So again, I'm sure if Aaron Glenn goes for it on 4th and 1 or 4th and 2 too many times, we're going to say that we're losing the game because again, a lot of Jets fans and Yankees fans think that analytics are taking over the game. So I love to see how everyone is excited that their team is using analytics, and then sometimes when it doesn't go in your favor, then analytics are ruining the game. So it's good, man. Jet GPT, let's do it.
We've upgraded, man. We went from Madden ratings to now using Chat GPT, Jet GPT. Shout out to Ryan Mack for the nickname for that. Again, I think this is all good stuff. Muji is considered to be young and forward thinking, and they changed how they do their college scouting reports. And now that he's had a full year on the job and got to hire his scouts and personnel folks in the front office. So, I think this is going to be his team, and we'll see if Aaron Glenn and him will continue that partnership based on how this upcoming season will go. Before I get you out of here, Omari, give me your thoughts on Gino's presser yesterday. I know you tuned in. He basically acknowledged the offseason distraction, said he's ready to move forward. Give me your breakdown on what you heard from the Jets Week 1 starter, Geno Smith.
Listen, I think he said at the podium and when he's been in the building and when he's been in New York, Geno's been fine. That's exactly what you want. You want a veteran that's going to be able to stable the ship. Now, if we could just get him a chauffeur, we can get him a car service, I think that we'll be fine. But you can't take too much out of the opening presser. Everyone's feeling good, but I'm glad that he acknowledged it, and I'm just glad that it's behind him, Jake. You don't have to worry about it. The case is closed. And again, I'm sure that he's embarrassed by it because it's been a quiet offseason, and he knows that his leash is very short with Jets fans, and there's a lot of people that are rooting for him to fail. And all he has to do is just show up and do his job. So I thought that he was contrite. I thought that he, accepted responsibility for it, and now he's ready to move on. And again, if he plays well, nobody's ever going to bring this up. So all he has to do is just show up and be exactly who we need him to be, and bring his wild and drive the speed limit. That's all you have to do.
That's it, man. Carry the license. Let's go.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh man, Omari, you're the best. Thanks for hopping on. A lot of fun this morning.
Love you, Jake. Later, man.
Omari Brown from JetX with us here. We're presented by PrizePicks. Code HMA. Play your first $5 lineup. Get $150 in lineups if you win. Geno Smith's regular season passing touchdown number is 14.5. Come on, people. I don't care how you feel about the Jets, Glenn, Geno. He's throwing at least 15 touchdowns. He threw 19 last year on the worst team in the league without their key weapons for most of the year because Bowers especially was hurt. 14.5 passing touchdowns. We're going more on that for Geno Smith. He should have that by week 8. He should have that by week 10 at the latest. Come on now. Let's see it. Geno Smith, more than 14.5 passing touchdowns. We are going to get into your calls. I also want to remind people this Saturday, Cloverleaf Tavern, our annual training camp meetup. Come hang out with your favorite Asmaniacs. The event is free. You just need to RSVP with the link that is in the description for the video. Cloverleaf Tavern after the Jets practice Saturday morning. If anyone has extra tickets to the Jet practice, please reach out to me. We'd love to distribute those to some of my listeners so they could go. If you don't have practice tickets and you just want to come to the meetup, you totally can. And in fact, that's probably what most people are doing. So come meet us at the Cloverleaf Tavern this Saturday. We're at 11:15, 11:30. We will be there. Chef Kevin versus Chef Brian in the Chef Off. I'll have some signed Jets items to use for some giveaway prizes for the folks showing up. And it's going to be a great time. So I can't wait. If you're coming out, all you need to do is RSVP with the link that is in the description. We got a bunch of you on the line. I want to hit your calls. Here's what I'm going to do first, though. I'm going to hit a short break. We come back. We get to all your calls. Again, RSVP to the upcoming Cloverleaf Tavern meetup. Here's the break, though. It's not your typical commercial break. It's a rap that Blitz BK made all about this show. So shout out to Blitz. We play it, come back, get to your calls. Garrett Wilson signed helmet up for grabs on our shows today. Let's go. It is indeed the Jake Asman Show. We have a lot to talk about today on the show. Make sure you click the like button and you are subscribed to the channel. Reminder,
win or lose, we never break. Every day that we ride and we ride with Jake. Hit the live, quarter line if you gotta take. Every fan got a voice when we ride with Jake. Win or lose, we never break. Every day that we ride and we ride with Jake. Hit the live, quarter line if you gotta take. Every fan got a voice when we ride with Jake. Wake up coffee in the morning, watch the comments flying. Always speak our truth, we got the heart and pride of lions. As maniacs, always loud, we never silent. Drop your tapes inside the chat or grab the line and dial in. Super chat, skip the line, you can pay it online. People complain all the time, how we ain't got a line. How we never got a coach, and a QB in his prime. Or an OC with an innovative play design. Rumors get dissected, your tapes get inspected. Talking out your neck, expect to get corrected. Draft board, cap spaces, rosters get projected. Win, lose, or draw, we will always judge the effort. Join the Discord, that's how we all stay connected. Same dream, same pain, we all stay invested. It's always just forever, our faith's been accepted. Dream through our veins, this can never be questioned.
you guys are the best. I leave you with this short clip. Sit back, bask in the glory of all of it, and we'll talk to you soon. JETS, 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 Jets.
Yeah. Win or lose, we never break. Every day that we ride and we ride with Jake. Hit the live, call the line if you gotta take. Every fan got a voice when we ride with Jake. Win or lose, we never break. Every day that we ride and we ride with Jake. Hit the live, call the line if you gotta take. Every fan got a voice when we ride with Jake.
Shout out to Blitz BK. How cool is that? Awesome job with that track. Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. Let's hit some of your calls right now. The son of Jason in Jerusalem is in the leadoff spot today. Hello, son of Jason.
Jason in New York. He's in New York right now.
Okay.
So I was gonna say I saw on Jet News on Instagram that pointing out that Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall are now veterans. They're entering year 5. That's mind-boggling. Just how time flies, and the fact that these guys are so good, and the presence they're probably gonna have in that locker room, and just that gives me a whole new perspective for the upcoming season. Yes, we're the Jets, but I'm super pumped, and I was gonna ask, who do you think? We were talking about Muji doing all these trades and all these moves. Who do you think he's gonna extend next?
Well, it's a good question because there's nothing coming on the horizon as far as before the year starts. So I think if you look at the next possible contract extension, there's 2 names I'm circling. Will McDonald, depending on the year he has, if you want to invest, significant salary cap space into him. He does play a premium position, but he's a bit of a one-dimensional player, just as a guy that can get after the quarterback. Do you invest in him if he has a big year? And the other name to circle, if Olu Fashanu has a big year, he's extension eligible at the end of the season. You're going to pick up his 5th-year option, but then you can extend him. And if you extend Olu Fashanu, you're getting a discount on him, big picture, if you believe he's your long-term left tackle, because the tackle market only continues to go up, and it's a highly paid position. So those are the 2 names to watch, I think, for future extensions. There could be some slight stuff like Harrison Phillips doesn't have any guarantees left in his contract. Maybe they give him a new 2-year deal where they lower his cap hit by extending him now. I could see something like that, but that's a minor move compared to a notable extension like Breece, Tippmann, Garrett last year.
Right. Do you think we're going to get to see Klubnik start this year?
Yes. I don't think it's going to be, unless Geno gets hurt, I don't think it's going to be till after the Jets bye week, though.
Okay, fair enough. Appreciate your time.
You got it, Jason, son of Jason. Your name is Moshe?
Moshak, correct.
Moshak. Okay. Well, Moshak, welcome
Appreciate
back to
it.
New York. You got it. Yeah. Look, I think in an ideal world, Gino plays well and you don't need to see Klubnik. But if the Jets are out of it and we hit the bye week, which is the latest the Jets have ever had a bye in their franchise's history, week 13, I think we see Cade down the stretch after that. That's when I see it. The chat for me is not loading through StreamYard, so I have to check it through YouTube. But I noticed here we only have 6 new channel members this show. So I'm going to gift a membership right now. And if you get it, we're putting you in the raffle to win any of our weekly items on Sunday and today's Garrett Wilson signed helmet. So 1 gifted membership from yours truly. If you want it, here's how you could get it. You like the video, you click the subscribe button, and you make sure that you comment in the chat and always engage with the show. Share the show. There's a share button on YouTube. Help this show grow. We just hit over 46,000 subscribers. It's not possible without everyone who tunes in year-round. So without further ado, 1 gifted membership from yours truly to get us up to 7 during the show is about to be fired off. Ladies and gentlemen, a gifted membership has been sent.
I'm not trying to be a butthole. A butthole.
Mason Johnston is the recipient of the gifted membership from yours truly. Mad Max has gifted a membership. That went to listener Matt Gusterson. And Leany in North Carolina. Leany, your signed Vinny T jersey is on its way to you. Dubson received it. Let's go.
We're the freaking New York Jets, so we're built for this shit.
Oh, we got more. How about who is Ryan Mack, who gave us the great name Jet GBT? Gifted a membership. He's in the raffle now for 1. Mike Drop received that one. Let's go.
And I know it's hard to say. Just trust me, have faith in what we're doing.
Oh, yeah. All right, let's get to more of your calls right now. We'll keep it rolling right now. This man sent me an awesome package. The problem is it reeks of cigarettes and glory. So I need to air it out first, but I certainly appreciate it. It's Ricky NY.
I'm Ricky, New York, and I love to smoke. Florida State. I really love Florida State. Jordan Travis, you know he's from Florida State. At any rate, I call into smoking debate. Florida State, I really love Florida State. At any rate, thanks for taking my call, Jake.
Jake, what's happening?
Ricky.
Hey, you're probably not going to believe this, but I had smoked quite a bit that day, and I don't remember what I put in your package. Did I say
it certainly was an odor that it needed to be dealt with before I could even dare reach in and see the rest. But I did see you send something for Tanky V as well, so I'll make sure I get that to him.
Right on, right on. I couldn't remember if I sent you a hat or not, but at any rate, dude, I like everything that I'm hearing right now. You know what? An extension that maybe gets done, and because I believe, unless I'm mistaken, this will be a contract year for him technically. A.D. Mitchell starts off real hot. I could see maybe an in-season extension for him.
Well, so he's in his 3rd year. He was a 2nd-round pick, so he's got another year after this. So he's a free agent after the following season.
Okay. I had that wrong then. He's got 1 more year left. As far as the leadership group, I could see Joe Tippmann being in that leadership group as well, along with the guys that you guys mentioned. But dude, I cannot wait to start getting, the reports in from practice. And like, dude, football is back. Like, it's finally here. The wait is over with. Somebody said to me earlier today, like, this seems like the longest off season ever. And it really has. I mean, because our season ended so early last year, it seems like it's taken forever to get here. But finally, it's here. I like the direction, and I'm looking forward to it. And for everybody listening out there, if you're considering going to the meetup, do it. Like, being able to hang out with everybody from the chat, all the callers, all the people that you see here on the show, it is the most worthwhile experience you'll have all year. I went to Jake's meetup in Tampa last year, and it was absolutely phenomenal. And I can only imagine that, when you do them locally and not, out of market like that, you probably have even more of a crowd show up. So anybody thinking about going, do it. You will not regret it. Was one of the best times I had all season last year.
Well, I appreciate that a lot, Ricky. It was great to finally meet you in person after you've been calling the show for all these years.
It was, man. And, if only we could have seen a win that weekend as well. But that shit's about to change this year. This year is going to be different. So, and I know it probably seems like I say that every year, but this year I actually mean it. I think we got the right guy leading us, and I like where we're headed. So everybody have a great weekend, and go Jets.
You going to be smoking and debating all weekend?
Probably a little bit less smoking, a little bit more debating, but I'm sure there'll be some smoke too.
Interesting. The mind of Ricky NY, folks. It's a fascinating mind, Ricky. It really is.
I certainly try. But yeah, man. Everybody have a great weekend, and man, let's get ready to celebrate some wins.
JETS. All right, let's go.
Let's make it clear. I don't know how many games the Jets are going to win this year. I'm at around 6, but one of the 6 needs to be week 1. Especially if what Fireman Ed told us the other day at the Martin Lions Golf Classic is true. That Robert Saleh apparently said this to a Jet fan the other day.
A little birdie that was out in Tahoe that told me that Saleh said they were going to beat our ass. That came directly from Saleh. I can't say who said it to me, but he said, we're going to beat their ass. I said, oh, baby, put that on them. Put that on the board.
Right, and
that talks.
That should motivate the Jets.
Yes.
Because last year, you lose to Aaron Rodgers, it snowballs. The Jets always lose the revenge game. They lose to Sam Darnold against the Jets a couple of years ago. Geno eliminated them from the playoffs in the 2022 season. It's time to win a revenge game. And Saleh's notorious for awful starts to the season.
Well, yeah, and listen, one thing we know about Coach Saleh, he could talk because he talks to the wrong guys. Like, he confided with Joe Benigno. I mean, about Zach Wilson. I mean, come on, what are we doing? So when I heard that in Tahoe, because my boys were out there for that celebrity. What is that?
It's a big charity tournament.
Yeah, the big charity tournament, and they were with all the big guns. And Saleh, he had a jet hat on, and he says, we see you week 1. He goes, we're gonna beat your ass. I said, oh baby, let me broadcast that a little bit. So I made sure that when I got on your show, I'm broadcasting it because it came from his lips.
Well, it's time for the Jets to fight back.
Time to win. All right. Stop being the punching bag. Do something about it. Shout out to Steve. He sent me a $10 Venmo. He says, I need the helmet. Put me in for 2. He just purchased 2 raffle tickets. Garrett Wilson signed helmet with 2022 number 10 pick in the inscription is up for grabs today on the show. Enter for your chance to win.
Just don't let go of the rope.
More of your calls right now, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you vote in the Azzy Awards as well. Looks like King Lowski is on his way to securing the W there for the Need More Calls Award. Ladies and gentlemen, our next caller is a man who yesterday won a signed helmet by Chad Pennington. Hit it.
I'm choking. Good morning, Jake. What's up?
Good morning, Rooster. Congrats on your raffle prize.
Great win. I love Chad Pennington. Great quarterback. Great part of that draft. A lot of fun. Great Yankee win last night. Just want to throw that in quietly. 11 out of our last 14. But let's talk a little Jets. I think you made a great point today. It's almost like we're treating Aaron Glenn like he's the fucking defensive coordinator. And he's not. He's the head coach. We never mentioned the defensive coordinator's name once until today.
The Duke of Defense, Brian Duker.
He better be the defensive coordinator because, yes, Glenn's calling plays, but he's the head coach, Aaron Glenn. I mean, And it's a major role. And I think as Jet fans, we think, okay, Reicher's offense, him defense, and that's it. It's not it. He's the head coach, and it's Duker better be, he's going to be doing most of the game plan. So, I mean, yeah, he better be good. We almost forgot about him. We can't. We talk about Reich every call talks about Reich. We never talk about Duker. We got to talk about him. So Duker better be good.
The Duke of defense. And look, Glenn's entire staff on that side of the ball is basically different. And he's taken over the play calling, which means, okay, he'll be involved in putting together the game plans Tuesday to Saturday. But on Sunday, like the in-game stuff, that's on your coaching staff to be able to relay what you want done, because you're going to be standing on the sideline when the offense is on the field, letting Gino and Frank Reich to know if they're going for it or not, or when to use your timeouts is on the head coach, when the challenge, all the responsibilities that come with being a head coach. He was not just bad at last year, he was horrific at. So now you're putting more on his plate. He better have hired a better staff to help him delegate a lot of this stuff. That's the only way it's going to work.
That leads me to point two. Can you ask Cimini, does Aaron Glenn live in the facility? We heard Robert Saleh and most of these guys live in the facility. To do this job, you hear all the stories. They're there all the time, 4 a.m., they sleep. Is that Aaron Glenn or is it not Aaron Glenn? Or do we know that? To me, if it was me, and after that 3-14, I wouldn't be coming home. I mean, you have to do everything, especially that he's calling plays. Do you have any idea on that? Does anyone? What kind of hours this guy's putting in?
Yeah, Cimini has said he's a very hard worker, and he's first one there, last to leave. I don't think it's a work ethic thing with Glenn. I've never questioned that. It's just some people have it or they don't. Right. I could put all the hours I want to be, an NFL quarterback. It's not going to happen for me. It's there's got to be some just natural ability to do the job, and we'll find out if he has any of it.
And I'll say from hearing that press conference, there were some subtle things he said that wanted to make you believe that maybe he still has a lot more power than he has. He mentioned, I chose the Green Bay guy. I like my defensive ends this way, and it's my choices. And then, like you said, guess who comes popping on? Darren Muji. To remind people, I think there is a little more there with this relationship. Yes, they're going to tell you how great it is. I think Glenn is feeling it, that he hears that Muji's taken over. And I think Muji wants to remind people when he steps on there now after Aaron Glenn, it's kind of my team now. I think there's subtly something there with these guys.
Listen to how Darren talks now compared to a year ago. He's way more confident, way more sure of himself. You could just tell, like he's an equal partner with Glenn. They're not on the same timeline. Like Muji's going to be here, barring everyone that he brought in just being horrific. He's here. It's Glenn who's got to win enough games to be still working with Darren Muji going into the next offseason.
And I just wish, and maybe we don't know it, that he was not an equal partner and he was in charge, because I really believe you have to have hierarchy to win. Leon Rose down to the coach. Yes, they work together, but he
kind of does have the hierarchy. If we're saying he's going to be here and Glenn, it's a question mark.
Good. I think that's important. I think he has to. He has to make the tough decisions. He has to go eventually to Woody Johnson if it's not working. Hey, that's it. We are better than this. We have better players than this. And listen, we'll see. I'm hoping again. I do think we are going to be better. I think there is talent here. Again, we get any quarterback play with that offensive line, I think we're going to win some more games. So, listen, day one is football's coming, and, that's it. Jake, you're the greatest. Chad Pennington, thank you for the ball. To everybody else, the Rooster is out. Have a great day. Thank you.
God, that Rooster is something, isn't he? What a man. Yesterday, we gave out a Chad Pennington signed item. Today, it's Garrett Wilson. Enter for your chance to win, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go. James with a super chat. Again, I apologize for not being able to bring the comments on the screen. It's a StreamYard issue. It will be fixed for the second show with Sabo recapping practice 1 this afternoon. James says, I got a feeling Duper, I believe you mean Duker. Duker's calling the defense. Glenn just wants to be the head coach like Parcells was like Parcells. He's trying to be Parcells, and he can't. No, Glenn's calling the defense. That's obvious. But Duker's role is on game day. It's an important one. Hopefully, he's a little more comfortable around his players than he was the first time he spoke to the media, where it looked like he was going to shit his pants. I mean, that was a strange presser he had. I don't know how many Jet fans even saw it, because the only people watching Jet defensive coordinator press conferences in May are, the diehards. But he's got a role, and Glenn referenced him as someone who obviously knows his defense. And when Glenn's doing head coaching stuff or with the offense, the Duke of defense got to be able to coach the unit. The question that everyone wants to know from Brian Duker is, what exactly is your philosophy?
What is your philosophy about 3-4 or 4-3?
My philosophy is to play the best players and play good defense.
No, as far as the scheme, the scheme you like to run.
Exactly. Yep. Whoever the best players are, we'll get those out there, and we'll be multiple with that. So I wouldn't tie myself to either of those, really.
More from the Duke of defense.
And how do you see that role with AG? He's calling the defense, but what do you see as your role as a defensive coordinator, and how can you help him?
Absolutely. First and foremost, my role here is to help AG, right, and help him, put him in great positions that he does a great job calling the game. But outside of that, from the defensive coordinator role, there's certainly some details and some coordination of the little things that need to be taken care of, that sometimes just based on the plate of responsibilities that the head coach has, that it helps if someone can handle some of those. So some of the finer details and just some of the little things that I can help stay organized, again, any way I can help him be better, that's what I'm trying to do.
Hopefully he's more comfortable with his players than he was the last time we heard him speak to the media, but we'll see. His role does matter, though, I'm telling you. All right, last chance to get in on our first show today. Before we do that, reminder that we are presented by ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can do a lot of things for you. They could provide you with great candidates for the job you're looking for. If you need a job, Charles Gorman, ZipRecruiter should get your resume in front of people that could give you a job. They have technology that makes it possible to find the most interested and qualified candidates right away, so you can meet the right people faster. The Asmaniacs always go the extra step, as does ZipRecruiter. You could try it for free right now if you go to their website, ziprecruiter.com/audio. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter, they get a quality candidate within the first day. Try it for free. Again, ziprecruiter.com/audio. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Cap the landlord writes in, and of course, X comments are working, but not YouTube comments. Aaron Glenn will be using ZipRecruiter soon enough. He might. He better win games. The cold world, the NFL. Win games, or there'll be someone else trying to do it. You don't get to win 3 games in year 1 and then win 4 or 5 in year 2 and survive. You can't have 8 wins in your first 2 years and think that's normal. You're out of a job in that scenario. See you later.
Let's go!
Ladies and gentlemen, in yesterday's Azzy Awards, Beastbreaker won the WTF Are You Talking About award. And for the first time today, we check in with our latest Azzy winner.
Yeah, B, sometimes I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
You need something?
Well, I'm doing a talk show and you're on hold.
Yeah, I know that. I was just reading something and then I was watching the show. I was enjoying it until somebody had to start running his gonorrhea at the mouth because he knows who he is. It's called back off. Calling my awards fake is a big mistake, Pally. I'm warning you right now. You're stepping on toes. See, I'm warning you right now.
Who called your awards fake?
That little piece of shit, Mad Max.
Max?
He's in red alert trouble, and I've told him this before. He better watch himself, because one of these days, he tries that with someone on the street, he's going to get his ass popped. Right
Mad Max,
yes, sir.
You called Beast Awards fake?
Is enough with
I
you.
mean, really,
Look,
real
you
man
stupid
would
son of a
show
bitch.
of the rewards
Look,
on.
shut the fuck and mouth up. I'm sick of your pissy attitude. I'm gonna grab you right by the fucking throat and I'm gonna break your neck in
Whoa,
half.
Beast, calm down,
I've
buddy.
had it with your attitude.
Calm down,
You
Beast.
made me sick. You know that?
This is not the behavior of a 36-time world champion.
No. This has gone so way too far. You're stepping on lines. You're really crossing boundaries, and you're really pushing some real heavy fire.
Mad Max,
I'm
how
gonna warn
dare you
pal.
call Beast Awards fake?
I mean, if someone has,
You need to take
you know why,
a real
Jake?
reality
You know
check.
why, Jake? Because someone who actually had won a world belt would show it. I was at work at Jersey Mike. Someone
First of all, we don't
showed
do
they
that.
want to fight. If
How
wanna
dare
show
you,
your-
Mad Max? If Beast
You know what?
Awards are
That's it.
fake,
That's
explain this video.
Ladies and gentlemen, this 256-pound man, the 8-time Superstar of the Year with 2 Grand Slams, 3-time Dancing Champion of the Year, 3-time Announcer of the Year, 3-time Man of the Year, 2-time Asmaniac of the Month, 2-time Manager of the Year, 2-time Comeback Player of the Year, 2-time Home Run Hitting Champion, 2-time FTW Champion, 2-time Superstar of the Decade, 2-time Rookie of the Year, 1-time Party of the Year, 1-time Football Coach of the Year, 1-time Wildest Hair of the Year, and 1-time Bake Off Champion 1996.
And I'm just getting started.
It's the Great Beast Breaker.
Explain that to
Really?
Mad Max.
I mean, really, it's fake AI, Jake.
No,
You're like,
first of all,
let me
shut your fucking mouth. I'm getting sick of your fake AI crap. See, this is why people like me want to bust you in half. And let me remind you something. You're walking on thin ice, pal. Because one of these days, if you ever walk in my neck of the woods, I will kick your ass all over the place. And just like what LOD did to Demolition years ago, you are nothing more than micro mini men because you are walking on lines, pal. I own 3 battle jackets, 35 world belts, worldwide status. I broke my back. What has your pussy ass done for this country? Besides,
On behalf of the Jake Asman Show, we apologize for the foul language.
you're a freaking loser in my book. And you know what? You like to suck Bischoff's ass.
Stop cursing, B. Stop cursing. Just
No. Party's over, pal. This is where it ends today. This is where it ends today. That means no more. I'm tired of you already. I've gotten tired of you since day one. You're annoying. You're like a disgrace to me. You're a sicko. You have no respect for my family. You treat me like garbage. Well, you know what? This is what's gonna happen. If opening up a 6-pack of whoop ass will have to be that, then so be it. I'm just telling you right now, I've had enough of your shit. You've gone over the line. You've gone too far. You're stepping on boundaries, and you're getting a little ahead of yourself.
look at
in the
us
wrong
making
way.
a chocolate cake.
Look. Shut the hell up when I'm talking to you, you little jerk. I am 3 seconds away from knocking your teeth out. I am 3 seconds away. I am tired of your shitty, snotty attitude. You make me want to vomit and regurgitate. Yeah, you can't punch your way out of a wet paper bag. And nor you.
Good job.
You're nothing more than a wet burrito on a
Hey.
cold day, and you'll never
Hey.
make it.
Big fella.
Stop. You're not punching anybody. I told you about this. Shut the fuck up with that. You're not punching anybody. You hear me?
I'm done. That's enough.
Enough.
Can you hear me?
There's no punching anybody. I had a question for you. What did you bake for your bake-off trophy?
I made Oreo cupcakes, and they turned out fantastic.
Okay. That's all I wanted to know. But there's no punching. No punching at all. You need to use your words. No physical shit. All right, Mad Max is just a kid, bro. He's just a kid. All right. Relax.
He
All
already
right.
pushed my button already a little hard.
That's all I got, man. Have a good day.
Well, that's enough of that. Well, that's enough of that nonsense for today. And as ECW stands with honor, dignity, and code, we're gonna keep dominating the scene. And you're a lucky man. I'm gonna tell you something. One day you're gonna get into a situation where you can't call for help, and you're gonna have to depend on yourself, and you're gonna have to let yourself down. I'm not calling because why do I have to care? Call male pride, old-fashioned pighead, working class, three-fax machine, car phones, masculine pride. No accountants, no lawyers, no mommies or daddies, no Washington lobbyists, just a man with
Wow, what a moment. What a rumble. Training camp is back, baby. Super chat from Top Gun Jets, who says Jets football is officially back. You see how happy Garrett Wilson is. Please, football gods, bless us with a good season and bless me with that G5 helmet too. You're in for two. I like Garrett's optimism. I like that he's bought in, and I hope that the Jets at least play meaningful games for him, which is what he was asked, what he wants to see this year. Play meaningful games, which means you're relevant. You're not 0-7. You're winning games early. That's the key to all this. The Cap writes in on X, some of these yes make me feel like a Rhodes Scholar. Thanks for making me feel good about myself, Jake. My pleasure. Cap, my pleasure. Let's go.
Yeah, here we come, baby. Here we come. Here come the Jets, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, what a show it's been. What a show it has been. We're going to recap all the details of practice this afternoon with Robbie Sabo. Want to remind people that tickets are available exclusively for members of the Patreon if you're coming to our meetup for the Jets and the Dolphins on October 25th. Tickets are $150, section 146, and it includes a post-game field pass. I'm going to leave it exclusive for Patreon users for the next week or so, and then we'll open it up to the general public. So if you definitely want to go, you can reserve up to 4 tickets, but you have to be a Patreon member. The info is on the dashboard for the Patreon. Once you sign up, you'll see it. It's a link. You click it, tells you how to reserve your tickets, how to pay me either Zelle, PayPal, or Venmo, and you're all set. As soon as we get the tickets from the Jets, we send it out to everyone who reserved the ticket at the email you sign up with. That easy. 39 of our 70 have already been allocated. So go to patreon.com/Jake Asman Show and sign up if you want to join us and get yourself a guaranteed spot in section 146 with all our listeners. Big thank you to all of our Patreon users, including Fat Bulldog, who became a member last night, signed up for the year. Congratulations, Fat Bulldog, clearly his real name. Jay N. Ryle became a Patreon member as well, so we love seeing that. So thank you to everyone on the Patreon. Get in that Discord, comes with your membership, all the perks, all the glory. All right, that does it for me. You guys are the best. Thanks for watching. Beast, go see a dentist, all right?
I already got one lined up for 3:30 tomorrow. They're gonna
3:30 tomorrow.
They'll hack here in the back like wizard tooth, and I already told them it's back here in the deep part of my tooth. I've been having to freaking put salt water and gargle. That sucks, but you know what? That's pain. That's life. Just gotta deal with it. And after tomorrow, I'll probably wind up getting that anamoxicillin. That stuff will knock you out. That's a 500.
Before we get out of here, let's close voting. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of this morning's Need More Calls as the award is King Lowski. King Lowski wins with 43% of the vote. Leany in second at 30%. Amanda Madison at 19%. And Mets 2128 with 8% of the vote. Congratulations to the King and to our nominees. This afternoon, the Azzy Award for the best takes will be up for grabs between Gary, Kyle Clifton, the Rooster, and Doc Jet Fan. Thanks to all who watched. We will talk to you this afternoon. JETS, 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 Jets. Full recap of practice with Sabo, who was there at 4 p.m. Let's go.
Take that pick and shove it somewhere else, because I will never have that son of a bitch on my belly. I would punch him right in the brains.
Just leave a message. Just leave a message. Thank you. Hey, Asmaniacs, make sure to hit the like button and keep on supporting the Jake Asman Show.
That's right, Beast. If you don't subscribe to Jake Asman Show, the Jets will never win another game. Go Jets!